international stars are gracing the Stockholm Film Festival this year, but Sweden itself is entering a new golden age in filmmaking. This year, 2 Swedish films are battling it out in the main competition. Documentary veteran Tarik Saleh's animated feature Metropia and debutante Håkon Liu's Miss Kicki starring Pernilla August.
I'm very happy that we're in competition here in Stockholm Film Festival. I'm very excited about showing it here in Sweden, but also a bit scared. I don't know if this film, the Swedish audience will like this film or not, and I've got fierce competition in my section as well.
She wants to get to know me.
Jag skulle behöva fixa några grejer idag, så kan vi ses på hotellet.
She had a lot of boyfriends.
How many?
I don't know. I don't live with her.
You can knock down.
Miss Kicki is about a middle-aged woman who has fallen in love with a very rich businessman on the internet. She believes this is the love of her life. And she wants to go to Taiwan and look for him. And in the middle of this, a son that she's never taken care of, that has been raised by his grandmother, comes up, and somehow out of nowhere she invites him to join her.
Victor, vill du följa med mig på semester en vecka?
When I first met Pernilla August, who plays the lead, I fell in love with her. I thought she was great. I grew up in Taiwan and I spent a few years in Norway. So my impression of Pernilla August is not the Swedish, you know, growing up with her. When I started thinking a story for Pernilla August, I really couldn't figure out something good for her here in Sweden. So I went to my old film professor and complained, you know, this script doesn't work, something's wrong with this. And he said, well, send Pernilla August to Taiwan. And at first I thought it was the worst idea, but somehow, magically, you know, the story just dropped into my head. In Taiwan, I always got nervous because, you know, there might be 3 or 4 people just, you know, clinging to Pernilla August, you know, fixing her hair, doing her makeup, giving her something to drink, and giving her a massage at the same time. I could just see how that was too much, and that was actually very difficult to explain to the Taiwanese crew, that you need to give the Swedish people some personal space. It's not bad service if you don't touch them and give them things and talk to them all the time. It's actually good service to leave them alone.
Kicki?
Kicki?
No, Kicki.
Metropia is a Swedish film that's competing in the same section as me, and I heard a lot, there's been a lot of buzz about this film, so I'm having high expectations on this film.
You think you can handle the truth?
She is not who she pretends to be. You mean nothing to them.
What if someone who owns the metro would become so powerful that he could actually, you know, that he became almost like a dictator, you know? What kind of society would that be?
Listen, a voice in your head is talking to you.
This is a normal strand of hair, but for us, it can also be an antenna.
People think that this film is 3-dimensional. It looks 3-dimensional, but it's 2-dimensional, and it's an optical illusion. That, for example, if somebody is turning his or her head, we move the ears and the eyes and the nose and the mouth in different speeds to create the illusion of that they are actually turning.
We married a world of strings and of some, or almost acoustic, you know, string quartets or ensembles, and still the strings were a bit fucked up towards the electronics, so that you hear strings, but if you listen closely, you immediately notice that some of them goes backwards and they shift and they're not really authentic.
You want to kill you?
Tell me what I'm doing! I'm not supposed to be here.
We found this pamphlet from SL, which is the Swedish metro authorities, with the crossed over dog sign that you can't bring your pets into certain metro carriages. But when I read the text in that pamphlet, it said that if you know that you have a strong smell or an odor, you should avoid a carriage with this sign on, which is the typical way that public transportation authorities are communicating with their customers. You know, they you know, suggest that you're a dog if you smell. You know, it's a really terrible thing to say to someone. I want to see Mr. Nobody in the main competition, and I also want to see The Road. These are the two films I really want to see.
Swedish actress turned director Alexandra Dahlström represents young fresh talent with her short film Because the Night, funded by her 1 Kilometer Film Award win from last year's festival.
My film Because the Night that I've been working on during this year is a film about not really getting what you want, and about joy of life and really deep and hard anguish and pain.
Ska vi gå?
It's called Because the Night. Well, because I like the Patti Smith song, and because it really is about the night.